I built my personal website using AI without a design, without front-end experience, and honestly, without a real plan. And that worked, but also broke in ways I didn't expect. Hi, I'm Alex. I work in DevRel, and this is part one of me building my personal website with AI. So there are 3 reasons I started doing this back in August 2025. And before you go check when this video was uploaded, yes, I'm slow. So first, I wanted to have a personal website. I've seen on the conferences, and I've been to a lot of conferences, I've seen people, other developers, having their personal websites, sharing their talks there, their code, and so on. So I thought it could be good for my personal brand to also have my own personal website. Second, as I work in the company which develops AI coding assistant, I thought it would be a good way to showcase on a real life project what AI can do, right? Basically, practice what you preach. And third, I just wanted to have fun. I never, in my 10 years of experience, mostly in backend and ML, in AI, I never really built a website from scratch. So I thought that now, with the help of AI, I could experience all of that starting from scratch all the way to deployment and then supporting development and so on. The problem is I didn't really have a plan. I had a very vague idea of what I wanted to do, what I wanted to have. So probably a landing page with my talks, with recordings, right? Maybe blog posts. But I didn't really have any design, any structure. If you are working in IT, I guess you are kind of used to that. And still, usually it is a terrible idea to start without any vision, any design, or anything else. But now, in an age of AI, it feels like you can just play prompt roulette, see the results, and then discard and re-roll if you don't like them. As I mentioned, I didn't really have much experience building websites from scratch, and I didn't want to go into all the corporate things like using HubSpot, for example, to host pages. So I did what people nowadays do. I asked ChatGPT, and of course it offered to me a sort of vibe coding starter pack. So I ended up using Supabase, Next.js, and Vercel for deployment. I discarded the idea of using some sort of constructor like Wix or some others because I wanted to also experience the whole thing of building the website from scratch. Now, I got the stack. I still didn't have the design. So I figured, well, I will create something now, something working, some prototype, and then I figure out the design later. And this probably, in the hindsight, was a bit of a mistake. And mind you, back then, back in August 2025, you already could get quite a nice design layout, of the website with essentially one-shot prompt. Here's an example of such a very animated website, and I will leave an example prompt in the description, courtesy of my ex-colleague, Vibor. And Vibor, if you're watching this video, say hi in the comments. So the capability of AI was there. Instead, I didn't really bother with the design. I just gave a very basic prompt, and you can see it on the screen right now. I essentially said that I want a website, I want the following pages, and that's pretty much it. I didn't specify anything about the design. I basically allowed AI to figure it out on its own. And then, yeah, I guess you get what you ask for, or in this case, do not ask for. And it worked. It did have, I guess, some design in mind, in virtual AI mind, but it didn't really look appealing to humans. There were like transparent menus. Some elements of the menus were sticky when they shouldn't be. There were some overlaps in the menus and so on. So, it worked, but it wasn't really visually that appealing. And this, I guess, essentially where it all started going wrong. And I kept using the website for some time because it was serving my purpose. It was allowing me to track all my conference applications. But really, every time I stumbled across a small inconvenience, I thought, okay, I will just patch it quickly. I just fixed things that immediately stood out. in hopes that later I will have time, first of all, think about the website design, and second, I will use AI to do the refactoring. And to be honest, probably that was also one of the mistakes, that I didn't really have any design system from the start. I didn't have clear direction. As I was patching minor things, I kept coming up with the new ideas, with new features which I wanted to implement to the website, because I thought they would be useful for me. And it started to become kind of like a Frankenstein in a sense. And it still worked, right? But different pages had different drop downs, different elements, which were supposed to be the same. So every feature became essentially an improvisation, both on my side and on the side of AI. And AI is great at generating code. It was back when I started in August 2025. It is even better now, but it won't give you coherence unless you ask for it. So looking back, a few mistakes which I did, and which I guess a lot of people still do, especially when they are vibe coding something from scratch, especially when they are non-technical people, is first, I didn't have any design layout beforehand. And nowadays there are a lot of tools which can help you translate your vague ideas from text to the actual designs. And I will create a separate video on that later. I didn't have clear vision on what I want the website to be. As I mentioned, I had some idea that I wanted a landing page, I wanted my talks, I wanted my recordings, maybe blog posts. And if you're watching this video, also I have a text version now on my website, because now it has blog posts. I also kept thinking that I will fix it later, or AI will fix it later for me. And it started to, all this technical debt started to creep up. And at some point it became essentially unmaintainable. Not for me, nor for AI, because whenever I tried to patch one thing, another thing broke, and it was sort of like an endless cycle of me manually testing what AI created. Some new feature was working, something that worked previously started to break, so I had to go back to AI to ask to fix that, and it was essentially an endless cycle of back and forth between me and AI. And again, it was essentially August 2025, so spec-driven development and things like that still were not the case really. So it was essentially just what people were used to back in 2025, right? It was a chat window. I used Zencoder, my company's product, in the VS Code, and it was just a chat or a bunch of chats where I asked AI to essentially create a feature for me. And of course, asking it to not do mistakes. I also spent a lot of time worrying about security, even though at that point in time, I didn't really even had my website deployed. So at this point, I had a working website, but underneath it was a real mess. And well, to be honest, it was a real mess on the outside, on the UI part as well, as you have seen throughout this video. So in part 2, I will show how I tried to fix this, starting with my first refactoring with the help of AI, which turned into 3, and the 4th is coming. Stay tuned, hit that subscribe button, and tell me in the comments if you want me to focus on any specific part of this journey of me vibe coding my website.